What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Badass Classics. Today we're visiting the largest Tucker exhibit in Hershey, Pennsylvania at the Hershey Antique Auto Museum. Hey, if you're into classic cars, which I'm assuming you are since you're watching this video, and you find yourself in Hershey, PA, it would behoove you, as they used to say in basic training back in the day, to get over to this museum and check it out. There are some really interesting displays. The entry fee is only $5, and you can even play with a cool interactive model train city downstairs. You could say I'm a Tucker fan of sorts. At least I have a nice diecast model of one. This is a 1/18th scale of a Ertl collectible. Hey, if you haven't seen the movie, you should do that as soon as you are done watching this video as well. Jeff Bridges does an excellent job of portraying the young go-getter Preston Tucker. He really does remind me of visionaries like Elon Musk, who have so much ambition in obtaining so many different types of goals. The Tucker display is especially interesting here in the Hershey Museum. Because of the huge collection represented, mainly due to one Tucker hoarder, David Kamek, whose interest in Tucker started when he was 14 years old. And most of this collection came from his collection. It was donated, and he's no longer with us. But back in the day, he and his younger brother traveled to the Mayflower Hotel in Washington, D.C. to see the Tin Goose, Tucker's original first prototype, which was equipped with a 589 cubic inch engine. 24 years passed before he became aware of two Tuckers for sale. One had been sold, but David bought the remaining one, chassis number 1022, and a year after that, in 73, he was able to purchase chassis number 1001, which was the first regular production car after the prototype. And then also a year later, in 74, he was able to purchase his third Tucker, number 1026, and that car came with Tucker's second test chassis, which is represented here as well. So I am by no means an expert on these cars at all. I'm still educating myself on their history. I really enjoyed the movie and reading about them and everything I learned here while I was at the museum. But just to give you a little bit of background with how many there were and all that, Tucker was really ahead of his time, and he had a lot of firsts and innovations that the big three in Congress really weren't happy about, because it would be digging into their pockets, much like today with kickbacks and stock options and stuff that Congress has with a lot of companies. But back in the day with the big three, some of his innovations were stuff like disc brakes, one of the first production vehicles with seat belts. It had a pop-out windshield designed to eject during a crash, protecting passengers, supposedly. I guess it is protecting them some if you're not bashing your head into a windshield, and it's popping out instead. And the pivoting center headlight, which is a really cool innovation. I think they do that on some cars today, but they really should do it on most cars, because you're able to see into a curve before you ever get there as soon as you start turning your wheels. So these new innovations really were slated they were going to hurt the pocketbooks of the big three automakers, and of course they couldn't have that. So they pulled some dirty tricks and stuff to run him out of business. But Preston was able to build 51 cars, of which I believe there's 47 that are still surviving today in various collections. So it's pretty awesome that many were made, at least, and that many survived. So after the failed development of Tucker's first engine, the 589 cubic inch flathead six-cylinder, it hit a dead end. Tucker purchased Air-Cooled Motors of New York, which built helicopter engines, and then he developed his engines from this design. And just to quote from a Hemmings article here from David Lachance, because I want to give credit where credit is due and not submit myself to any legal issues later on. He says he traces the lines from the helicopter engine to automobile power plant in his collection. This is referring to David Kamek, displaying a series of 9 engines. There's only 8 on display at the Hershey Museum. I think the 9th one is in a private collection. But displaying a series of 9 engines, most with transmissions mounted on stands. The lineup includes a helicopter engine mounted vertically, engines adapted for Tucker's use with water jackets and redesigned for horizontal orientation, and a single air-cooled flat 6 that was never installed in a car. The first Tuckers had pre-selector gearboxes taken from junkyard cords. Tucker then re-engineered the cord transmission with stronger shafts and gears and renamed it the Y1. My lovely assistant gave us a little bit of light into here. You can see this crazy skinny battery. Now, even before all this, Tucker first developed a combat car for World War II, nicknamed the Tucker Tiger, and it was powered by a Packard U-12 engine. Only one prototype was built, and there was promise of selling these to the Netherlands, but the Germans invaded in the spring of 1940, before the deal could be made. So Tucker finished his prototypes and tried to sell them to the U.S. military, but they thought the vehicles were too fast. Apparently, they were said to be able to reach 100 miles an hour. I don't know what they couldn't drive slower than that. They were just too fast overall. I don't know. He also developed a lightweight fighter plane under his aviation corporation, but wasn't able to produce a prototype before the U.S. military lost interest. So he was, like I said, like Elon Musk, had his hands in a lot of different innovations and was trying to get some good stuff off the ground. One of the other really cool things about this collection is the amount of documentation that David Kamek was able to keep and survived, and really almost didn't because of the family that had these documents and stuff beforehand, before he got them back in the day. And again, to quote from that same Hemmings article, it's just crazy that the stuff survived when he was, It says David's most remarkable find may be the paperwork that Tucker's engineers left behind. When the corporation was liquidated, an investor purchased all of the engineering drawings as well as all rights to the Tucker name for $2,000. When I was originally talking with him, he was asking for $10 million, David said. He declined. After the man's death, his family, apparently not realizing the value of the drawings, tried to dispose of them at a Chicago dump, only to be told that the blueprints weren't acceptable. The man's grandson took the papers and offered them to the Tucker Automobile Club of America, which contacted David. Quote, I was able to acquire them for a much more reasonable price, he chuckled. Organizing the papers has taken up a good deal of David's time for the past 2+ years, and he's not near the end yet. They just threw them in boxes. There was no order to them whatsoever. So even the barn door of Tucker's original barn where he worked and did his prototypes and stuff, even that original barn door is in this display. Just some really cool history here, some really cool parts that were saved, and just the whole legacy of the Tucker automobile and Preston Tucker is pretty much all-encompassing in this one display. So like I said, you guys need to get out there and see it when you're in Hershey, PA, because it's a pretty cool site, and the museum itself is very cool as well. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe. Just as a side note, the original prototype, the 10 Goose, was actually almost lost as well. It was actually found on a property, a farm in Pennsylvania some time ago in pretty decrepit state. But luckily it was found, it was restored, and it is gorgeous once again. Thanks for watching, guys.